hour.
Okay.
Just so I can get out early, because it'll take about 2 hours to get to Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it skips forward an hour, so it's
Right.
time zones. And then 2 hours to get to your place.
Yeah.
So we still probably won't make it until like 10.
That's fine.
But just, get a little bit of sleep before the next day, before we drive up.
Yeah. And we're getting our air conditioning looked at on Tuesday, so if somebody wants to sleep upstairs, hopefully it won't be god awful like Matt's experience was.
Or are you about to smoke us out? Am I gonna get there? It's gonna be like 90 degrees.
Well, no, no. What was it? Yesterday, I think. We closed all the vents on the main level. All the vents in the basement are closed, so like it's pushing it all to the main level. But like in the main level, the AC comes through the floor, so it's only going up like 10 feet, right?
Right.
But then on the top floor, it comes through the ceiling, so that means it goes 2 stories, and that's quite a pressure jump.
That is.
So it's not very efficient.
Well. Hopefully they can fix it then.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's something that can be fixed, or I don't know. They're hoping it's never been this bad before. It's just this summer, so hopefully it's just something that kind of broke. As bad as that is to say.
Oh well. And that's not much better.
Yeah. Do anything fun this weekend?
Straight up just did nothing.
Wow.
It was great. These last 5 weekends I've been doing stuff all weekend. Finally, I could just not do anything. I could just chill and eat pizza in my underwear.
Over the sink.
Like God intended.
Yeah, sorry for having to cancel last night. I'll get into that though when we start, since this.
Oh yeah, it's no problem.
But I got to try, what is it? The Oculus Quest.
Rift?
Quest.
The
new
What's
one.
A Quest?
Oh,
there's a new one?
Yeah, so it's all contained in the headset. So like you don't plug into anything.
Ooh.
You just put
it
on.
How did it work?
It looked pretty good. It looked, I think, maybe a little better. You remember, were you at the PopCon where we tried the PlayStation VR? That Hawk game?
I don't think so. I was at it when we were at Purdue, and we tried it in that one line.
That one had a cord though, is the only thing.
Okay.
But there was at PopCon there was one. Sorry, I'm trying to do things but also talk at the same time.
It's hard.
There we go. At PopCon they had the PlayStation VR, and it didn't have a cord.
Oh.
So it was pretty nice. And the video quality was pretty good too. Although I think this one's a bit better, which I would hope so, because I think that was 4 years ago. I think it was the first year we went. But yeah, I kind of want VR, but at the same time, there's like
I don't know. It's one of those what? It's it's still kind of early in it, so if you get it, something better is just gonna come out in 2 years anyways.
Yeah, and plus I'm really not a fan of the cable. For something that's supposed to be super immersive, you have to constantly be worried that you're gonna hit something, and you have to set up you have to set up the room. The nice thing about this one is you can use it literally anywhere, and it maps the space kind of. So if you go too far, it puts a little outline hey, you're too close to the wall or stuff like that.
Oh, that is cool.
So you could use it outside.
Bro, the future.
Yeah, but the issue is all the computing power is in the headset. So
that's true. So it's not going to be exactly the the strongest piece of machinery.
Right. Beat Saber looks fine, but you're not gonna run modded Minecraft on VR.
I want my Witcher 3 on a VR.
Yeah. But that being said, I have one of the I got a VR headset, but it's for your phone.
Right.
And supposedly you can do Netflix VR, which I didn't know. So I'm gonna try that out.
Netflix VR.
Yeah.
That doesn't. I'm not sure if that sounds like a better experience.
I don't know. It probably won't be either because my friend I was talking to was saying they put you in like a log cabin and then you have a screen that you're looking
What?
at.
They're just like real life, but worse.
Yeah, but that's the point too, because like on my phone it's a little bit blurry because it's a cheap, just thing that you put on your head. So it would be really low resolution movie when I could just go into my basement and watch a movie.
It's terrible. Why would anyone choose to watch it that way?
Because I can lay in my bed and watch a movie on a screen. That's why. The future.
The future. Okay, well, anyways, I guess we should probably actually get into the album.
Yeah, you want to get into it? Alright,
Yeah.
let's do the transition.
Transition.
Alrighty. Hello, and welcome back to Audio Shop again on a Monday.
Welcome back, Monday boys.
Yeah. My name is Sam, again, since we should probably introduce ourselves each time.
And I'm Cooper.
And I take the blame for having it on Monday this week.
You do, don't you? And why is that, Sam?
Because some friends reached out on Friday night at like 10 p.m. and said, hey, you want to come over tomorrow on Saturday night? And I was doing stuff. I was like, no, that's sorry, can't do tomorrow. And they're like, what about Sunday? I'm like, yeah, I'll just push the podcast back.
Priorities. How dare you?
Hey, this is what you did last time we had it on Monday.
Wait, no. That was, wait, yeah, it was.
And mine was last second notice, which is worse, but is the reason it got pushed back.
Oh, well, we're here now, and that's what matters.
Some people would argue it'd be better if we didn't do it, but...
Well, they're wrong. And we're here to prove them wrong.
For now.
For now.
But this week's album is Forever by Mystery Skulls. And I'll do the history if you're alright with that, Cooper.
Yes, go ahead.
So, Mystery Skulls is actually a one-man band. The guy's name is... I'm going to call this Louis, but it's Luis.
Pretty sure it's Louise.
We'll agree.
His middle name's Alberto.
Yeah, Dubuck Jr.
Dubuck.
He was born in Dallas, Texas. And he started Mystery Skulls in 2011 with an opening EP, having performed with the band 30 called Arson as a drummer until 2004. And then in 2004, he performed as The Secret Handshake from 2004 to 2011. He's always been a one-man band since 2004, but like, I guess it's his stage name, like the artist who formerly lived as Prince.
Well, that's in bad taste.
Sorry. But Mystery Skulls has released 5 albums so far, the most recent being Back to Life on April 12th, 2019. Maybe should have done that one, but this one had more songs I liked on it.
Fair enough.
And most recently, he performed at Furry Weekend Atlanta and has been doing a summer tour to promote Back to Life.
I didn't know he was a furry.
I don't think he is. I just think he's kind of unknown.
He's a furry ally.
Sure.
Would be a good way of putting it.
Sure, we'll go with that. But yeah, I mean...
so basically, he's kind of like a Dead Mouse or Skrillex type situation.
Yeah, so he was
like a one-man DJ band.
Yeah, he was inspired by Daft Punk.
Ah, yes.
But yeah, this album that we're listening to today, Forever, his single off this is what I listened to first when it came out in 2014. He had a EP before that, but I've not listened to it. And this is actually the first time I listened to the album all the way through. Because I just listened to the 2 songs I like off this. So, why don't we launch into it? You go first, since I already...
Jump right in. Yeah, so I guess we'll start where all good albums start, at the beginning, with track number 1, Forever, the titular track. And this one, I think it's a very strong opening for a... so this is kind of a EDM, electro, dance music album.
Very electro.
Right? Very electro. But it opens with this very cinematic, swelling violin type of opening. With I think some like choir singing in the background and like these strumming guitar violins. Mm-hmm. And then the electro kind of slowly builds underneath it with like a crowd cheering in the background before it all kind of blasts in into a actually fully realized Electra song, which I always like. I'm a bit of a sucker for like the slow open on an album, or kind of like eases you into it before it goes full. Yeah, and then it goes straight into the electronic part. And the first thing I notice about the song, it's kind of a running theme of the album, is the bass is usually this very like rapid, like buzzing electronic type bass, like a synth, like playing the same key very fast. Which some songs I'm not a fan of it. This one I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, I love that.
It's kind of hit or miss with me.
Yeah.
So I guess it didn't hit here, but no, it did hit here. But on some songs it didn't quite as much.
Yeah. I mean, I love the orchestral opening with the strong bass coming in, because who doesn't love some good orchestra music, you know? And
you do like Plastic Beach.
Yeah.
You ever think for that electronic orchestra? Electronic orchestra.
Electra. If there was only a band, maybe like electric orchestra.
But they're also like, you could see them, so it's like bright.
Yeah. Bright electric orchestra.
Yeah.
Electric.
Yeah, BLO.
But anyway, I will say, since I brought this up, I don't know how many times already. How many shows have we done? Who knows?
This is the 8th, actually. The 8th album.
Wow.
Yeah. We're almost to double digits. For
the past, like, 4, I brought up how repetitive a lot of lyrics are. And the lyrics are pretty dang repetitive in this. But...
this one does not solve that.
But... the focus is on the instruments. The instruments are actually louder than the vocals. So... the constantly shifting music makes up for it, and it's same volume, if not a bit louder than the lyrics. So he knows that the instruments are what's leading the song, not him singing, which is an important difference.
It's definitely important for this, because I am pretty lukewarm on these vocals.
Yeah.
They're not bad. Like, he's obviously a pretty okay singer. It's got like a very Maroon 5 type sound.
I mentioned that a lot later.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, where it's not like bad, but it's pretty... It's like your standard 2010s pop noise.
Well, see, like, the thing I like about his vocals is he puts this filter on them. It sounds like auto-tune, the kind of buzz you get from auto-tune, but he's not auto-tuning himself at all. And I feel like that kind of creates his style that sets him apart from, the general singing voice.
I'm not sure if it does enough to, like, actually... I don't know, his voice just doesn't... His performance, like the instrumentals, back a lot of personality, but like his actual vocal performance itself is pretty milquetoast overall.
In this first song, anyway. But a big part of these songs are the bass, and he knows that.
That's true.
If you can't hear the bass, if you don't have good headphones, you're not like in a car, you're gonna hate the song, because 95% of the song is bass, pretty much. Or a lot of these songs, the big feature is the bass line. So, you kind of have to be able to hear it.
Right.
And the other thing is the orchestral theme continues throughout. So it'll pop back up every once in a while.
Which I like. It plays with that motif.
Mm-hmm. And, electronic and orchestra just go so well together.
It's a pretty good combination. I think it's a very solid opener, this one, Forever.
And I feel like it's a bit odd opening on your title track, but, it works.
I don't think it's not really unheard of.
But jump into track number 2.
Number 2, The Future. Ooh.
Future.
Where's that sample?
I should get a soundboard. I'm sorry, I'll work on that. I've been working on other stuff this week. But, take it away, Coop.
Yeah, so this one I'm also pretty... I think this is a pretty good follow-up to Forever. It's got a very funky keyboard going underneath, and he starts playing with like these kind of pitched vocal samples. Which I think add to this very playful vibe to this song. I mean, all these songs are pretty playful. They're clearly dance music. So they definitely play to that sentimentality. But and the buzzing synth bass comes back. Now, I know you're a fan of this bass. I'm not sold on it necessarily at this song.
This song is amazing. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not saying that it's a bad song. I'm saying that the kind of buzzing synth bass underneath it, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that in replace to like more traditional bass.
See, but
like if you kind of don't paying attention to it, it's okay. But like if you listen to it, it becomes very obvious.
Traditional bass is so boring. What's traditional bass? A bass drum. That's boring. Buzzing synth, sustained notes. Ooh.
It's
beautiful.
It's not. I guess it's not less. It's more interesting. I'm just not sure if it's better.
It is better. You're just wrong.
I think I am free to have my own opinion, and I think it's worse. But I think it can work. Like I liked it on Forever. This one, I think it was just a bit much going with that funky keyboard. Though I do like the guitars, the plucking guitars he has going.
Yeah. I don't know what that you were talking about the vocal sampling in the beginning. I absolutely love that. This is honestly, like I said, this is my first. I've been listening to this one more than just right before we started the podcast, since that's clearly colored my reviews for the past 2 weeks. But holy cow, this song is absolutely going on my listen playlist because it's so good. That vocal, I've never heard anything like those vocal sampling. It just goes all over the place. And there's no feature on this song, so the vocals that sound like female are probably just him pitch shifted up a ton.
Yeah, just some pitch.
Significant pitch shifting. And unlike Cooper, I think the bass absolutely carries this song again, covering the vocals until the other instruments start coming in, because he kind of, sings with just the bass line, and it works because the bass has a lot going on for it. It's not just a thumping drum. And this one has many more verses than the first, and it works well when it's just the vocals and the bass. If you took the first song and cut out all that instrumental underneath, that would not. It would be a much worse song, which kind of happens later on this album. And then it really steps down to like those vocal instruments. Sorry, the sampling before building back up and dropping into everything again. But while it is very similar, there are some new themes being added towards the end when they drop the singing about halfway through.
It's got a pretty decent breakdown.
Yeah, because it's
about halfway through.
It's a dance song. He knows you're not listening to the lyrics.
You listen to the soul, to the music. But so it's a pretty good dance song overall. I'm still also not sold on the on the vocals. The pitch vocals are great. I love those on the chorus. I wish it was more like that. But his are, again, I could do with less.
I mean, you can't get much less than that's already there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got verse, chorus, verse, chorus. He's singing through a lot of instrumentation.
He is. But, well, no, he's the main verses happen only on bass lines, though.
True. But then it's just bass and the vocals. Those are the two things I'm not that big on with this album.
But the bass carries it, Cooper. That's where you're wrong. The bass is amazing. You're just not an electro person.
I like some electro, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not a fan of this particular type of buzzing bass. That's what I'm going to call it. It's like a bass saw.
All right. Well, we'll agree that you're wrong.
We'll agree to disagree.
Jump into song number 3 then. Paralyzed.
Now this one, I'm not sure about you, but this was giving me like strong like Tron vibes. Like this is straight up. Oh, you just said their name. What was that band?
Daft Punk.
Daft Punk. Yeah. This is giving me. If you've ever seen heard their soundtrack for Tron, the most recent one, this one was really giving me those vibes on this one. It's like I think it's the. It was the kind of back bass, how this time it's kind of ascending and descending. like bum 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 ba da 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 da, and then like it like
Oh
repeat
yeah.
that.
Oh, you're talking about where the bass is shifting from kind of just notes to the buzz style and back again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
I
was
really
so
like that as well. And I'm a
I like
Daft
that.
Punk
I
fan,
like that
so
more than what he's been doing with the bass so far.
it
Uh,
does add some nice variety.
it does, and also this is the song I kind of noticed that the percussion is pretty straightforward. I mean, I guess it's a dance song, so they're not going to do anything super. You're not going to have a drum break in the middle of a dance song. But I think the bass kind of covers it. That electro backbeat going on. But then they kind of strip it back in the chorus. Like the chorus is like this really kind of like stripped back of vocal performance, which I'm not a fan of, especially when it has so much energy going into it. But I think it gets better in like the second chorus. It adds like violins.
Mm-hmm.
That gives it a little more energy and a little more character going in.
Yeah, I mean, like we already talked about the heavy bass shifting styles. That's really cool. But bringing the piano in to contrast with the filtered vocals and the heavy bass before dropping back into the really electro sound. I'm a big fan of that. I like how he occasionally throws in either orchestral, acoustic, or just piano to kind of provide a bit of a palate cleanser before he gets into the drop, so to say. And then dropping out the vocals before getting to the really heavy stuff about halfway through the song. He knows what he's about. Like and then he brings back the orchestra right at the end to give the calmer ending, so it's not dropping out the floor, and kind of provides that ramp up, that allow the ramp up in the next song, so you're not already hyped going into it.
Yeah, this one has a decent ending. Next song does not. This is not a turn that continues on to Hellbent.
Yeah, but we'll jump to 4 then. Hellbent.
Hellbent.
Featuring Snowblood.
Which I'm assuming is another DJ?
It's the woman vocalist.
Okay. Yeah, she has some pretty nice vocals. I like that.
I think their styles complement pretty well.
It's a very complimentary style. This one has a very aggressive electro bass going right into it. This is like a hyper beast song of like I wouldn't mind putting this on my workout playlist.
I do. It helps a lot.
It's a very interesting where the instrumentation's like this very low, like a short repeating snippet of this like electro bass like doing this ascending riff as this like higher pitched like buzzing synth like plays over it. It's a very interesting feel that I think I kind of like. And unfortunately, I don't think it keeps it throughout the entire song. Because it kind of, again, whenever it hits the chorus, it kind of drops out to this more like simplified this more simplified beat. Though it does have this like nice drumming guitar and the female vocals to go with it to keep things interesting.
I'm gonna have to completely disagree with you here.
Oh no!
This is this is one of the 2 songs that I listen to by him a lot. I don't think you were in the car, and sadly Matt already left the chat. But when he was up here, I played this in the car, and he feared for his life. This is a very dangerous song to listen to in the car, because you know that build up at the start you were talking about?
Yeah.
It sounds like an engine accelerating, and you know what it makes you want to do? Floor it. And it's a lot of fun to drive very fast to the song. But it hypes you up. It builds so quickly. It's kind of got that it's a bass, but it's not like shifting notes. It's just rising, you know?
It's an always rising bass.
Yeah.
It like loops back in on itself, so it just keeps going up.
But it cuts off at a certain point.
Well, yeah, it's not. That doesn't keep rising the entire song. Only dogs can hear it by the end.
The bass, amazing once again. That buzzing bass, can't get enough of it. Ooh, just want more. And the electronic notes cutting through that are kind of the melody and pulsing to the tempo as well. That's a big thing that Mystery Skulls does, is have this beat that is extremely obvious throughout the entire song. And I'll get into this a bit more when we get to song number 6, which is how I actually discovered him and all that jazz. But yeah, that's a very big theme of his. And My third note I have is I just now noticed these strings faintly in the background, very out of place. I'm not a fan of them. I actually had another tab open that was making noise. It was repeating this high. I think it was a clip from Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. So it was playing this creepy violin music every once in a while. So
I couldn't help but notice that halfway through the album, what sounds like the sample from a YouTube tutorial for cooking tortilla shells just started playing. Really off-putting for this album.
yeah, I thankfully I realized it halfway through the song because I was like, "There's no way." I've listened to this song like 5 times this week. There's no way I miss these violins every single time. And yes, it was another tab, and I'm an idiot. But then he brings in some plucky guitar, which provides a nice contrast to the heavy bass. Very nice again. The duet between him and Snowblood, oh, their voices are perfect together. I love them.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say her vocals are significantly better than his.
I think you just don't like his vocal.
I think I don't like his vocals.
But I think they're the spaced out duet where it's a call and response, and then they join together at the end. Their style, I love it. I love everything about this song. Not everything, but and then there's a second drop where it kind of restarts the song and does the build up again, or the song slowed down a bit and then it builds back up to the really fast speed.
Oh yeah, that's the dance floor drop right there.
Yes.
Everyone like, oh, here it comes. But and then you go crazy.
It adds like this static instrument on top, which sounds really weird when you think about it. And you're kind of like on the fence, but you're like, if it didn't have this, it'd get a little bit boring, you know?
Right.
And then I will say I'm not a huge fan of the ending. You're right. It does the build up again, and then just ends on a note.
Yeah, this ending.
The ending wasn't great, but I can look past it because the rest of the song is so good.
Well, what makes the ending a little bit worse in my eyes is that it goes straight from this into Fantasy, which is such a different song.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's like if the metaphor of the song was like racing up around on a car, it's like immediately like diving out of that car onto like a tricycle, like then hit like 5 miles per hour. It's like there's not much of a transition there. Which is unfortunate since obviously he knows how to do it, since he went from paralyzed to hellbent like very, very well.
Yeah,
kind of brought the energy down, then brought it back up into that transition.
I think it was easier though with paralyzed because hellbent is just balls to the walls all the time, constantly pedal on the floor. Drop into like an acoustic or to an orchestra would probably be even more jarring than just ending. So
yeah, maybe. I think he could have put like a more aggressive song next to it than Fantasy. Even just switching Ghost and Fantasy up.
Yeah,
in the discography, but
it provides a nice. I think I support his decision because I think if you had Ghost next to Hellbent,
I'm with him.
It would be a bit too much, and then Fantasy would go into Magic, which kind of are the same slower pace, and it'd get too repetitive. He's trying to chop it up a bit.
That's fair. I just think it's chopped up is a good term for it.
Yeah. The sudden ending is not great, but I think I don't know. I don't know what he could have done, but I don't write songs. I just make fun of them and
I just review them.
Yeah. So jump into song number 5 then. Fantasy. I'm pretty sure we all know what the song was written for, right? Like it's got what? It's probably about 60 BPM, very consistent tempo. You're my fantasy. It brings in a funk bass, for Pete's sake. Like this is.
Oh, it's for workout cooldowns.
Yeah, workout cooldowns. Yeah, while you're doing some stretches. Yeah. But I like. I mean, this is. It's interesting. It's a very different than the rest of his songs. I feel like he's like, all right, this is the theme I want to go with, and I'm gonna go from there. And I like how it's when he starts singing, the very funky bass is behind, like I called it a cotton filter. I don't know what you would call that.
Oh, where it kind of sounds muffled.
Yeah, or like really far away, like you're listening to it through a comforter or something.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Where it's like it's a muffled. It's the old our old friend Dragon Ball Wave. That
Yeah,
strategy.
exactly. Except the vocals are extremely clear over top of it. And I think that's a nice contrast.
Yeah.
And it's the first song where the vocals are really the focus as well, I think.
Which is unfortunate.
And you just don't like his voice. He has the filter on this one, but it's a little bit less. But I love the sound of his voice with the filter. I don't know. I think I might be looking at this through some very heavy nostalgia glasses because I listened to this when it came out in 2014. Not the album, but some of his songs. So hearing it's like, oh yeah, it's always been this. So take mine with a grain of salt.
I don't know, just whenever he puts the vocals up front and center, it's like they're just aggressively okay. Like, I'm not gonna say they're bad. They're not like bad vocals. That's the thing, but they're just like the most baseline, like electro dance music vocals that you can imagine. Which I think just kind of makes the song exist. Like it's got some interesting stuff going on. I like the bass on this one. I guess it's because it's less of the synth bass. But with the vocals just kind of and the slower BPM, I think it takes away from his strengths, where it's like these really more hype dance songs. And this one just kind of strips it back. And when you leave with just the vocals, it's not quite as doing it what it's supposed to be doing.
I mean, I think he set out to create a bedroom song, and he did just that.
Bedroom? I thought we were doing stretching.
Sure, stretching. Yeah, that's what we're going with. And it feels the lyrics, he delivers them with heart, like he's very forceful coming out. You know, we'll agree to disagree. I like how he delivers the vocals. He's got a very he can go quite high without going into falsetto. It seems.
I think we can agree. We can agree to disagree. I was really into Dent May's vocals, so I think we just got different tastes.
Yeah. Well, let's jump to track 6 then. Ghost.
Now, I think you've mentioned this one before, Sam. I'm not quite sure.
Sure I have to you. I'm pretty sure we talked about the song extensively. So I discovered Mystery Skulls in 2014 when Ghost came out. It was probably shortly out. It was probably late after the song came out because on YouTube, there is a YouTube channel. Let me make sure I get this name right real quick. Should have had this pulled up. It's Mystery Ben 27. He's only got 600,000 subscribers.
That's a few.
That was close. Thankfully, I managed to stop the autoplay. But he animates Mystery Skull songs, and 2 of the songs are songs from this album. The first one, 3 years ago. I guess that's when I said no. That was Freaking Out. Sorry. First one, 4 years ago, probably longer because YouTube doesn't show months, so it could be 4 years, 11 months. Is Ghost, and as I said before, there's a little taste of it for you. Sorry about that. I mentioned that very noticeable beat because he does the buzzy bass, right? That you hate.
The buzzy bass.
But then in some songs, he brings in the bass drum on the front end of the change to create that hit. So it gives it some force, and then the bass line continues. It's really distinct style. But the music video, so to say, tells a story, and all the characters in it pulse to that beat. You know, so they're like everything happens on that beat. What was that new Nintendo game that got announced on Switch? The Zelda one.
Oh, the Cadence of Hyrule.
Cadence of Hyrule, yes. So everything, you know how everything moves to the beat? Like, it moves off the beat too, but everything is... They
strumming to the beat.
Yeah, they nod their heads to the beat. Events happen in relation to the beat, that kind of thing. So that's what these YouTube videos are like. Now, Ghost was the first one, and then there was Freaking Out, which came out a year later, and I think it's a single. It's not on Spotify. I haven't been able to find it. The only place I've been able to find it is on this YouTube channel.
Maybe he just made it.
Maybe. Well, no, because the dude clearly has permission from
Louise.
Yeah, or it is him. I doubt it, because before this it was My Little Pony animations. But
man, it takes all kind of colors, right?
yeah,
No.
but I mean, Ghost has.
Oh, we. But yeah,
Yeah.
as much as we like the fan animation, I think this song is pretty good. Along with it,
Go check
wouldn't be
out,
a good animation if it didn't have a good song.
go check out the fan animation. 35 million views. And Hellbent has one too that came out 8 months ago.
Oh,
And then there's one in between that's freaking out that is not on this album. That's a different song. That was my positive rant for today.
the positive rant.
Yeah.
So it's always like a little optimism in our rants.
Yeah. But yeah,
And,
the good thing about the music videos is they tell a story too. So each one builds off the other.
A little narrative.
Yeah, it's a little narrative.
Did they build off the My Little Pony?
No, that was the first time I saw that.
Oh, I wish they would have carried over.
I didn't. He has 21 videos, and the last 4 have been Mystery Skulls, and I've only ever seen the Mystery Skulls one. So,
Hey, well, found his niche. 36 million views, can't lie.
but yes,
But,
it's great. The synth pushes the melody in this song. It builds to the bass rather than dropping straight into it. It's got that clear tempo. That's his style. Not much in the way of lyrics again, but the focus is more on the sound of it rather than the words, with the shifting instruments below and the heavy stylization on the vocals. He really hits the filters on the vocals with this one.
and Sam,
Yes.
I'm gonna say it.
You don't like the vocals?
I liked the vocal performance on this
Wow,
song.
you did?
Yeah, I think his. I don't know. I think it's because he's a lot more in the upper register here. Like he was hitting a lot of high notes,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the verse. And I don't know. I think it worked
like,
there.
Somebody else we listened to. Who's that?
Yeah.
I think he got a style.
I think I liked his falsetto in this one.
Yeah.
Because it add a little more character.
Mhm.
It made him. I'm not sure if this is intentional. Maybe I'm just bullcrapping. But it kind of made him sound like a spooky ghost.
Okay.
Maybe that's a bad reason to like it, but it is a reason.
It fits.
And I think, yeah, just his higher register worked with this kind of really strong synth line going throughout the song. That really has made it really danceable dance music.
Yeah, this has been a go-to song for me for years, until I finally discovered Hellbent. So it's a classic. If you don't want to listen to the album, at least listen to Ghost. It's one of his most. It is his most popular song. It's #1 played on Spotify.
Yeah, it's well, how many? Yeah, 17 million. It's not even close either.
Yeah, that's usually the way it is. But yeah, it's a very strong song. Obviously a dance number, kind of, for the most part, but it's good listen.
Oh yeah, super strong single. This is like classic EDM dance music.
And this was also a single. That's right. It was released as a single. So
I mean, I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
yeah. Surprisingly, Hellbent wasn't, but that might just be personal
really?
taste on my end. Yeah. He only has like 10 or so. No, I guess that's a lot. But jump into track number 7 then before I say anything else stupid. Magic, featuring Nile Rodgers and Brandy.
And I'm guessing there are also the vocals on this, right?
Yeah, I believe so. The female vocals are definitely one of them.
Probably Brandy.
Well, maybe it's a girl named Nile. You never know.
Yeah, that'd be unfortunate for her, though.
I mean,
it's unfortunate for a guy to be named Nile.
I mean, you can kind of get away with it. It's close to Nigel, so it's not that far off.
I guess.
Anyway, it brings back the orchestra again, which is nice.
Yes, with these super nice descending and ascending violins.
Yeah, focusing on the vocals before dropping into the electro beat. And this was the one. He sounds a lot like that singer from Maroon 5 at points.
Oh, Adam.
Sandler?
Wait, no. What's his last name? It's Adam something.
Levine?
Yeah, Adam Levine.
Wait, no, that's Avril Lavigne.
No, it's Adam Levine.
Are they related?
Yeah, no, his name's Adam Levine.
Is he related to Avril Lavigne?
Maybe they just have very similar names.
All right, digressing. Anyway, I think it's not just the style, but he actually sounds like him, I think.
Oh no, their last names are spelled different.
Okay.
He's Levine. She's Levine with a G in. like French style.
Oh, okay. Again, there's very repetitive lyrics in this one, but the instrumental gives plenty to listen to again. They don't kind of hide the instruments behind the vocals. They're equal levels. Also, the magic repetition is pretty catchy. Like it doesn't just say it in the same way. It constantly changes the notes they sing it at, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, the lyrics. I mean, I made a note that the lyrics aren't really to write home about, but that's really nitpicky given the genre.
Yeah.
Like to say that dance music doesn't have good lyrics is like, okay, well, congratulations, you're a genius.
Yeah.
No, but since that's the point, but it gets a little repetitive at the point of the chorus just being the title of the song repeated over and over again.
Yeah, but they repeat it the same way twice, but then they go up and come back down. I really like it changes it up.
I think it'd be better if the synth was this song felt a little more samey. Compared to the last songs, especially with Ghost, with such a strong synth line.
Mm-hmm.
This one, the synth felt a little phoned in, at least to me. Yeah. Like, I don't think it did much to differentiate itself from like a generic EDM dance song, right?
I see what you're saying.
I disagree. And obviously the vocal performance didn't pick it up much, but
yeah, it had those towards the end. It had the rising electronic chimes. You know what I'm talking about?
It did have the chimes, and did have a little bit of a nice violin breakdown.
Yeah, at the end. He likes exiting with the strings when he can get away with it.
Which I'm always a fan of, so I'm glad he did.
Yeah. And it jumps into track number 8 then. Number 1.
Number 1.
Featuring Brandy and Nile Rodgers. Not Nile Rodgers and Brandy, Brandy and Nile Rodgers.
Featuring Nile Uno. Is that the number 1 from Kids Next Door? You know what I'm talking about? Nah, never mind.
Is his last name Uno?
Yeah, get it? Because it's 1.
Yeah, Nigel, that's his name.
But, yeah, number 1. This one has a very summery feel to it. It's a summer fun song. And it's got an actual guitar bass line. What? It's not the buzzing bass? Which I enjoy there. And I really like Brandy. She had the vocals on the last song with Magic. Though with the chorus just being the word magic, I don't think it was anything to write home about. But I think the female vocals on this song is a lot better.
You're a
I really like them.
Girl. What a good wife you would be.
You would be such a fine girl.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one. It's straight into kind of that upbeat pop sound with not a lot going on instrumentally compared to previous songs. Just some guitar bass line, and it's not doing it. For being, if we're treating this as an electro dance album, right? Jumping into something that sounds like it belongs on Radio Disney does not really work.
Okay, it's not Radio Disney, Pad.
It's not, but it's missing a lot of the instrumental complexity that were in the previous song. I feel like from here on out, really tones it down.
I would agree that it's definitely a different feel, but unlike Fantasy, which I think kind of fell flat on that part, just kind of being a little more boring, I think this one adds a little personality. Like, it's definitely got that bubbly guitar in the background. I mean, the chorus is pretty shallow. None of them have really been particularly magnificent. But kind of that some summer feel with the guitar and the bubbly bass and the female vocals. I think it's a little spice to make this album a little more interesting. Have a little more variety. I'm
going to have to disagree again. Because once you get into the my train of thought just jumped the tracks. Once you get into the main melody, the lyric melody, chorus, that's what I'm looking for.
The lyric. It's like the main verse.
Yeah. Once you get into the chorus, they still sing it as though at some points they have the backing track, leaving large gaps, but there's nothing there. There's just like the bass guitar very distantly. So in this one, the lyrics are turned up and the instruments are turned down. So they're traditional song levels where the lyrics are louder than the instruments, as is usually the case. In all the previous ones so far, except for Fantasy, we've had instruments that were as loud, if not louder, than the lyrics. But in this one, they put more focus on the lyrics, and there's not a lot to the lyrics. And then they do the kind of fade away to come back that they do, where they only have a little bit of bass. And previously it worked because there was constantly singing, but in this one they'll sing and stop and sing again and stop, and it feels like they sang one take and they just used that one take for every melody. Chorus. Forgot the word again.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the chorus as well, but I think the instrumentation is interesting enough and it's pulled off well enough that it earns its place on the album.
It's not the worst song, I'll give you that. The outro is a little awkward in my taste. It kind of jumps to a classic rock style almost, it feels.
No, yeah.
Out of place to the rest of the song.
But I think when you're like in the back half of the album, it's like you get a little room to like experiment and play around.
It's a B-side for sure.
Yeah. And a pretty alright one. Yeah. Not the best, but certainly not the worst song of the album.
Yeah. Then we'll jump to track number 9 now. When I'm With You. Back to that pulsing bass with the characteristic voice filter, baby. No more.
It's all back.
It's all back.
It never left. It was always there.
Except instead of having the electronic synth or something going on complex, again, the complexity is turned way down in this song, and the melody is carried on 12 notes spaced out over the course of like 3 bars, and it's not held, it's just chimed. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, there's not anything going on to keep like, oh, I want to listen to this now, oh, I want to listen to this now. It's like, okay, I gotta listen to the bass, oh, there was that one note, gotta wait another 5 seconds for the next note.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't have the personality of number 1, but it also doesn't really have the complexity of the other songs either.
Yeah, it has that pew 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 laser noise from that blues song. You know what I'm talking about?
Pew pew pew! Oh, listen up.
This story.
Blue. Oh man, the next album we should review should be the Blue remix album, where it's just 28 remixes of the song Blue.
I don't think I could handle that.
I legit had that on my old iPod Touch.
No, I know. I'm pretty sure we played it when we went on that car trip.
Oh yeah.
We listened to at least 6 of them, I'm pretty sure.
I think I'd actually go insane if I had to listen to Blue 28 times, just with different remixes.
Yeah, it'd get pretty hard. I will say the song redeemed itself. I called it the secondary melody, which was the melody, but on the different instruments clearly was kind of meant to fill space. But it's held out notes on the synth, and it sounds a lot better that way compared to the chimes.
Once it's paired up to the chimes, it kind of fills in that space. They really bring each other up.
Yeah.
In the back half of the song.
Yeah, but it still feels a bit
wait for each note, and the more kind of lasery synth kind of shines through.
Yeah, it still feels bland though compared to other songs on this album. Like we've seen, he started so strong. There's so much going on. It's so dense. There's so much going on.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
It gets to here, and you're like, we've lost half. We're flying half a ship. You know, where's the rest?
And not to pile onto this song, but it also has an abrupt ending.
Yeah, I tried to tab out on the last half of this and come when I had thoughts, because I never got to the back half of this when I was walking around, because I would just stop and do something else because I was like, I can't. This isn't good for working out. This isn't good for driving. I'm just gonna have to save this for later. So.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of albums like this type, like dance music albums, the back half's always going to be the weaker. Because you got to start strong, right? Because it's a dance album.
Right.
And then the middle's always full of the singles. And then, I don't know, the back half's like, that's where you kind of dump some of the like half-baked songs.
Yeah.
The ones that weren't like big enough to be singles, but they weren't as interesting. It's pretty much Imagine Dragons Origins, but you know, not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad. I don't think anything could be that bad.
Never that bad.
Jumping to track number 10 then, Body High. This one was a lot slower. I think it's the slowest song on the album.
Or wait, I'd say so.
Not slow as in beat-wise, but
emotionally.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
It's like it's more of a it's almost a slow dance song, like
It's got a really
which is
fast
a
tempo,
kind of it's a pretty fast slow dance song,
yeah,
but it's got that slow dance mentality.
yeah.
If that makes any sense, you know.
And he drops the voice filter too, so it's just him straight singing.
And I actually think this is probably the best vocal performance on the album by him.
I disagree, but I agree that I really enjoy his vocals.
Because on this one, it feels like he's got some personality in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's kind of singing, like it's kind of like a forlorn, kind of more love struck vibe to it.
Yeah.
Instead of like the generic, oh, I'm so in love and then dancing, kind of general Maroon 5 vibe.
I'm going to be honest, I hardly listen to any of the lyrics on this. The only ones I listen to are Ghost and Hellbent, so I could sing along.
Not even like the lyrics, but like more of like the
feel.
The feel of his vocals. The actual performance of it. So I like it when artists allow themselves to get a little more invest in their songs with a little more personality.
Yeah.
It makes me like them more.
The vocals are definitely the focus. But again, there's not much going on besides the vocals. You got the bass, which is, he shifts it to basically just the drum. He kind of brings in his style where he does the drum on the beat of the heavy synth. I think once or twice, I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's much more just bass drum, and that kind of kills the song, I think. Because just having a bass drum, with the way he treats it, doesn't really work unless he has something to back it up.
Yeah, this song's pretty stripped back.
Yeah.
Obviously intentionally. It's like the mandatory slow song on a dance album.
Yeah, I think it would do better if the songs surrounding it weren't so stripped back already, though. You know?
Yeah, it kind of leads to the sameness. Yeah. Though it does have a pretty nice synth solo there in the middle.
Yeah.
So I'll give it that. But yeah, it's a slow song, which unfortunately is like sandwiched between two pretty stripped back songs to begin with.
Yeah. The B-side isn't large, but it's probably more of a C or D side than a B side, to be honest. And then jump into track number 11 then. Every Note.
Every Note, the final track.
He immediately off the bat here sounds like Adam Levine. It's ridiculous.
Did you get so that? Uncanny. It's so uncanny.
He sounds exactly like him.
Like it's legit. I'm not kidding. I thought that it was the end of the album. You know how Spotify like autoplays to similar songs? I'm like, oh, they must have just skipped to like a Maroon 5 song. Like, oh no, it's the last song of the album.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, he's got a great voice. I think that might actually be why maybe he puts that filter sound on it, so you know it's him as opposed to Maroon 5, as if the pulsing dance music didn't give it away.
Right.
But this one is focusing more on the instruments than the vocals again, but again, not much is happening with the instruments despite a pressing tempo. The song uses a bass drum as a driver again, as opposed to the synth sustaining a note. I appreciate when it's used to make the beat stand out, as I said before, but it doesn't fit the style alone. And this is the longest song on the album. It was 5 minutes.
It's over 5 minutes long.
There's not enough going on to justify a 5-minute runtime. Like Hellbent.
There really isn't. This one kind of it drags out the last bit of the album because already you're kind of getting fatigued from after Body High and When I'm With You.
Yeah.
I mean, just a couple interesting things. I'll give it credit. Like it has this kind of electronic humming, like at the beginning and end.
That was interesting.
Because it's like interesting. It kind of adds to the vibe of the song, but it's kind of a very it's a low key electronic song. Too low key to dance to, but still too energetic to like ponder on.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's what
exactly.
This is for.
the clear at the club music.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's 5 minutes long.
Maybe.
Gives you more time to get the broom so you can get the drunks out.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of other songs on this album that would have benefited from the 5-minute runtime, personally.
Yeah, this one wasn't the one that needed it.
This ain't it, coach.
This ain't it, chief.
So, that's the album. Only 11 songs. Most of them are under 3 minutes. A couple are over 3 minutes, and then this monster is 5 minutes for some reason.
Yep, 41-minute album. So pretty standard album length, I'd say. I'd say 45 minutes is probably like the average.
I'll agree with that on blind faith. Do you want to Do you want to do favorite songs for favorite, least favorite first?
I will, and I'll start with my favorite.
All right.
I'd say, to the surprise of probably no one, that my favorites were, I'd say, a close tie between Forever and Ghost. Um, Forever, for obvious reasons, it's got this very cinematic opening. It's danceable.
Mm-hmm.
It's even though it's got that buzzing bass, I think this is the best example of him using it to its advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, just paired with those violins is so sweet. So, real strong opener for an album. And then Ghost is like such a good lead single. It's one of the better vocal performances, a strong synth line, a great breakdown, and just a strong EDM song.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say those are the two to take away. Least favorite, I kind of had a three-way tie because I was having trouble because there's not
three.
Well, that sounds worse than it is.
Just there's 11 songs on the album, Cooper.
Let me explain. I don't think any of these songs are bad per se. Like none of these songs were like, "Ew, that's a gross song. I don't like it." But there was a lot of songs where I was completely indifferent to them. So that's why it's a three-way, just because these were like just there. So the first one was Every Note.
Yeah.
I don't think it really justified a 5-minute runtime, and it had the humming, but not much else. And then you probably won't like this, but then also I tied it with Fantasy and Magic. Both of those, they're just pretty generic EDM songs. And unfortunately, they kind of portrayed what I think is some of the bad tendencies on this album. Of vocal performance, not great. Electro instrumental on these songs, decent. I guess they get the job done, but like listening themselves, I have no reason to come back to them. They're kind of the white bread of electronic dance music, right? They'll get the job done, but there's better out there.
So you're telling me you're not going to put Fantasy on your Cooper's Super Sexy Time playlist?
Oh no. That's only Blue, all 28 remixes.
Right, that's the 28 Blue remixes.
So listen up.
Well, I'll start with least favorite since you ended with that.
Okay.
I'm going to disagree. Agree. Probably Every Note, I'd say. Personally, I would say Body High, but if they were the same length, but Every Note is 5 minutes, and dear Lord, it's too long. I would argue for chopping off number 9 to the end. If you had just made it a shorter EP, I think it would be a lot stronger. But When I'm With You is kind of fits. It's that slower. He went for the slower song. Right. Number 1 is I don't like the pop sound. I think it's even though I have us listed as listening to pop music on Twitch. I don't think it fits with the kind of style he was going with, and there are a couple of things in there I wasn't a huge fan of. And plus, that classic rock outro was really weird. But yeah, Every Note, while I love the singing in it, and it's got some cool things going on, just a bit too long. And then for favorite, Hellbent.
Oh, really? Over Ghost? I'm surprised.
I know. It's one of those things where it's like, I've listened to Ghost for so long, and I love it, but Hellbent is new and fresh, It's got that. It's still got that kick to it. I'm sure it'll die down, but I love Ghost a lot too. It's not a huge second place gap, but there is a gap. Hellbent just really gets me. That's my.
Get you going.
Yeah, Ghost is my warm up, running music, and then Hellbent, you just kick it into high gear. It pumps you up. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, disagree with Forever. I think it's a strong opener, but I don't think it's a favorite. But we're not going to argue the placing of these.
I think Hellbent's probably my third place if I had to choose.
Yeah. So what's your I got to introduce the ratings.
Oh yeah.
So if this is your first time watching, how many viewers do we have? 3. So one of you out there is a new viewer, unless that's counting the tab I have open. It might be. So it might be 2 that are me and 1 that is somebody else. We have our special car-themed rating system because we both know so much about cars.
And I love those tires, paint,
Yeah.
motors, the whole thing.
I change my headlight fluid weekly.
Oh yeah.
Um,
There's no such thing as windshield wiper fluid,
I
Sam.
know, I'm
Come on.
sorry. But we have a basically 5-star rating system. 5 stars is showroom, Yeah, you go to the dealership, it's sitting on that pedestal turning slowly. Some kid is licking the side door because their parents let go of them. And then one star is scrapyard, like that scene from Cars. Wasn't there a trash compactor scene in Cars?
I think you're thinking of the Brave Little Toaster.
I'm probably thinking of Brave Little Toaster. Better movie.
Those are very different movies, but
very different movies. One is clearly better though. But yes, so go ahead, Coop.
yeah. So I know I sounded a little critical of this album overall. And unfortunately, that kind of maintains. I think it's got some very good, very strong singles. Forever, Ghost, Hellbent's not a single, but I consider it a single because it sounds like one. But honestly, I think this is probably a solid, decent fixer-upper rating for me.
I guess
this is perfectly middle of the road. Not that it doesn't have its strong points, but I think they're pretty balanced out with. It kind of falls into the common trappings of a EDM album, right? Repetitiveness, vocals not much to write home about. So basically, I don't know. There's just the instrumentals are good to decent. The vocals are like okay to generic, and the songs are some are pretty great to pretty forgettable. Kind of runs that whole gambit. So it's not really an album I can say you have to listen through all the way through. There's some songs I can say you should definitely listen to, but even like half of it doesn't do anything too interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a decent fixer upper, right in the middle of the road. So it's a pretty good album to dance to at the club, but I don't think there's as much substance to it as one could want to actually sustain a full album listen.
We've completely flipped positions from last week.
Oh,
because
are you about to do it?
I take it back. I was on the fence about giving it a low showroom, but I decided for a high like new.
Okay.
I think the highs by far and away outweigh the lows. There's nothing so bad that it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. The bad's just forgettable, which is fine. Just skip them if you want to. And you can even listen to them. It's it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't leave a bad taste. It's just it was all right. But the ones that you will remember, oh by Lord, you will remember them. So I feel like that outweighs the kind of of the end of the album. And obviously, I have a different position than Cooper on some of the songs in the early album. I don't think it gets weak until about 8. So. We'll agree to disagree on that one, but I think this is a good listen for anybody that likes electronic music.
Yeah, I definitely. If you're a fan of EDM and electronic dance music, I think it's definitely worth giving it a look, even if it's just like the main singles.
Listen to even if you hate electronic, listen to Ghost. Go do it right now as we end. Go listen to Ghost.
No, listen to Ghost. Listen to Hellbent. Listen to Forever.
Yeah,
and listen to some pretty good electronic music.
Yeah.
Though a lot of them are pretty. You can pass them.
Yeah, but it's good album. I like it. I want to listen to his new stuff and see if we should do that at a future date. I think it'd be cool.
See if he approves, because this was when was this album released?
2014.
2014. Okay.
So 5 years of growth. We'll see where he is now.
He's got modern technology at his fingertips.
Yeah, I'm really hoping this isn't a reverse Gorillaz where you really like their old stuff and I like their new stuff, and I really like Mystery Skull's old stuff and you suddenly love his new stuff. And he completely changes his style or something.
He's now a folksy R&B singer.
Yeah, he sings folk music. He plays the washboard.
It's so much personality, though.
It's so dense. There's so much going on.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Well, we'll leave you there. Thank you for listening to this week's audio shop.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm imagining that next week we will most likely take off.
Are we?
For 4th of July weekend. Yeah, just because, we're going to be gone for most of the weekend.
We'll be back on Sunday.
Yeah, but that's my mom's birthday.
Oh, so the real reason comes out. Cooper's canceling the podcast because he loves his mom more than me.
Yeah, okay, you heard it here first. I love my mom. Whatever.
Right.
Shut up.
Well, we can discuss if you feel like doing it on Monday or not, but...
No, we'll play it by ear.
I feel like it's good to get on a roll. Even if we are pushing it back a day, I think we should be consistent. Consistency is key.
Well, loyal listeners, just keep a look on our Twitter account for updates about when we decide to go on.
And hopefully Cooper tweets the right time.
I did. The second time, so...
Last week you didn't.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Especially not us. Catch you later, shoppies.
Jeez, there it is.
Yeah.
All right, catch you later.
See you.